Today we are going to talk about the parawing. We're going to learn how to use it. First, let's go on the water and we'll break it down after. Alright, let's go with the parawing. I'm going to show you how to use it. Take it out, kind of like hold the leading edge, and boom, we launched it. I'm gonna make my way to my knees, like, okay, I'm gonna get to my feet. Now I like to go not straight downwind, but at an angle. I find it easier to take off, and I'm gonna try to get a tiny bit of a bump and a gust and start pumping. Yep. All right, so we are going, and now all we need to do is we're gonna kill the power and find a bump to ride. So let's see what's coming here. Okay, clack, and now we are just gonna ride a bump. We kind of like eliminated the hardest part of downwinding, which can be taking off with the paddle. And now we learn how to ride the swell. I would say at the beginning, don't pack it up, because if you run out of option or you can't pump anymore, what you're gonna do is you're gonna relaunch it, clack, and you are going again. As easy as that. You. Alright, let's go upwind. As you can see, it's not too hard to go upwind. It goes upwind pretty good. So now I'm not using a harness, so obviously I'm taking a lot on one hand. But look at that, the freedom of riding upwind. Let's see, find a bump, kill it. And if I wanted, I could pack it up, but there's not many bumps to ride today. So that's what I'm doing, mostly pumping, because it's kind of light also. But look at that, it's the perfect way to really learn how to read the bumps, and as soon as you need it, back. I was a bit inverted when I launched it, but no problem, got it back the right way, and I'm going again. You. Alright, now that you've seen how it works, let's break it down. First, we're going to cover the size. It comes in 1.8 meters, 2.9, 4 meters, 5.1, and 6 meters. So how do you pick the size? It's a tricky question because it depends on a lot of factors. Obviously, the wind that you have, the weight of the rider, the technique of the rider, the skill level, and then the gear you are going to use. Are you going to use a sinker board that's going to take more power to get going, or are you going to use a downwind board? I would pretty much decide in the same way that like you would pick a wing. For me, the 1.8, you really need high 20s or into the 30s. 2.9, 25 miles per hour wind. The 4 meters, 20 miles per hour wind, and then less than 20, you start getting into a bigger size. And then obviously it's gonna depend on your skill level, the weight and everything. Actually there's really great videos on YouTube, on the BoardRidingMaui YouTube channel by Greg, so check it out, a lot of useful information. But for the size, for this test I used the 2.9, and it was on the lighter side. It was probably more closer to 15, but I had a downwind burn or enough volume, I would say, 100 liters with my AFS wide burn 6.6, and then I had the 1300 Enduro, so a bigger foil, so I was able to get going with the 2.9. So then the next step we really need to cover is the handling part, and to me, first step when you get your parawing is really spend the time on the beach learning how to use it. You should be able to make it fly, and the sweet spot is really closer to the front lines. So you are not necessarily in the middle, you are definitely not close to the back, but you are pretty much in between those two set of lines. And the idea is if you pull too much on the front, you won't have control and you're not going to be able to, it's going to go down, you're not able to control it. If you pull too much on the back, you make it stall, it's coming down. So the idea is to always have some tension on the back line so you can direct it. If I want it to go this way, it's going, or it's going the other way. It needs to be reacting to your command, and that's only going to come if you have tension on the back lines. Not too much, otherwise, boom, you make it stall and it's coming down. So that's the idea. You really want to practice with both hands because you are going to be using both hands on the water. Spend as much time on the beach, walking back and forth. This is going to be very valuable. So I'm going to pack it up, but we are going to talk about the how to deploy it. As you saw in the video, to me, when you are going to deploy it on the water, it's better to sit on your board, to straddle the board. That's when you have the most stability, in my opinion. If you launch it from your knees, it's a bit harder, especially if you start adding chop and everything. So straddle the board, you're going to be nice and stable. And the best way is really to grab the leading edge and throw it in the air, and then it's going to launch. It won't even touch the water. So to me, that's the best way to launch it, is grab the leading edge and throw it in the air. Once you pack it up, you can throw it a bit of like as a bag, and it's not gonna deploy 100% of the time clean like that. Sometimes you have a twist or whatever, like you saw in the video, but it's very easy to like make it right. So again, practice that on the beach, deploy, pack it up. To pack it up, the technique is you are gonna get your hands close to the back line. You are not gonna grab it yet. You need to make it stall, then grab it. So that's the key, is you don't wanna have it powered and try to, with your hand, grab the back lines. You want your hand to be ready, you pull on the back line, and then you wrap it up. If you wanted to really pack it up here, you would come around, do a loop. That's how I do it. I go to the back, and now I'm grabbing all the lines inside, and my bar is on the outside. So to me, that's the best way to pack it up. Once you have practiced on the beach and you are really ready to get going, I recommend having more volume at the beginning. It's going to help you. The board I'm using today is 100 liter, like I said. I'm sitting, straddling on the board, throwing the leading edge, it's up and going. The next step is you don't want to go straight downwind, so you want to kind of like pick an angle that you are going to go. Because I'm regular, I could go either heel side this way to my left, or I switch hand and I would go toe side to the other way. Now, because I'm used to downwinding with a paddle, and I kind of like always edge on my toes when I'm with the paddle, I decided to go at an angle the other way. So I switch hand. Now I'm just not gonna do it right now so I can face the camera, but basically I'm flying the parawing with one hand. I'm using my other hand on the deck of the board to help me get to my knees. Once I'm on my knees, I wait for a decent gust, and I make sure that I'm not going straight downwind. I'm going about 45 degrees, so I have some tension. I'm kind of edging, and I'm gonna make my way to my feet. Again, not going downwind, not going upwind. I'm going 45 degrees, a bit downwind, but not totally downwind. And then as soon as I have a gust, obviously in that case, it was on the lighter side for the wing I had, so I had to pump. The pumping technique is the same that you would use in light wind with a wing, or with a paddle. So I'm pumping up on foil, and now I'm going, and now all I have to do is wait to pick a good line until I see a bump I can ride, and then again I'm gonna make it stall. My hand was ready to wrap it up. I catch the lines. At first, I would say don't necessarily pack it up totally, because the goal is really to get used to riding the bump, and then if you need, you can deploy it again and you don't have to pump so much. That's the goal. I see the parawing to me as like a really good tool for one, learning how to downwind, because it's forgiving. You can really kill the power, ride a few bumps, even if it's for a few seconds, deploy again, and then go get another bump. So it's more forgiving than with the paddle, because you have that assistance. But then with, you could also do that with the wing, except the wing, it never disappears like that. So now you can really be on and off, but you have that assistance when needed. The other thing that can be a really good tool is to learn how to pump. Even if you have no bump, you just have wind and it's pretty much flat, you can practice pumping, get power, depower, pump. Even if you get only 5 pumps, launch again, and you didn't have to fall. Like if you were gonna learn how to pump off a dock, every time you fall in, you have to climb back on the dock. It's not very efficient in terms of like the time you spend practicing pumping. And then obviously you can even practice pumping or practice riding the bump with the parawing up in the air. That's gonna provide you a tiny bit of like power, an assist that's gonna make it more forgiving. A common question that I get is, can you go upwind? Of course you can go upwind. I would say it's not gonna go as upwind as a wing. You can't quite get the same angle, but you can go upwind, no problem. Now the thing you need to know about like the parawing is you only have so much G power, because if you totally go on your front lines, it's not gonna fly properly. So you can't depower quite like a wing. So you have to know that going upwind, you're gonna take a lot on your hands. Some people use a harness, so I have not really like experienced using it with a harness, but that's an option if you plan on going upwind quite a bit, because it's gonna be a lot of power to handle. But like you saw in the video, I was going upwind, no problem. You can jibe. It does take some practice, so again, practice it on the beach, but you can go upwind, you can jibe, you can pretty much do everything you would do with a wing, and it works no problem. So once you are all dialed in and riding the bumps forever, you are ready to pack it up. You do your loop here. I bring the bar in the back. I'm gonna wrap the lines inside, and I am gonna pack it up in the belt that comes separately, so make sure you have it, and then you are ready to ride hands-free, bumps forever, best feeling ever. So I'm super pumped on the parawing. Greg from BoardRidingMaui has been doing an amazing job. Again, innovation from BoardRidingMaui. To me, if you know the brand, it's always been about being minimalist, and this is what it's about. It's not going to replace the wing. It's just opening some new possibilities for everybody. And to me, from being a beginner that wants to get into downwinding to being a really good rider that already downwind but wants to ride a smaller board, to me, the doors that this tool is opening, the parawing, is amazing. So if you want to check it out, I'm going to put the link in the description. Again, make sure to check out on YouTube BoardRidingMaui. Greg has tons of videos that are going to be helpful in the process. Let us know in a comment if you've used it, how you use it, the best way that you find to use it. And if you have any questions, drop them in a comment. People might be able to bring some answer, or maybe I didn't clarify some of the things. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video.
All right, I made it out pretty far. We're gonna try to stow it here. Found some really nice bumps. Let's see how it goes. All right, I put the parawing away, and what a crazy feeling being on a short board out here in the middle of the ocean. Unreal.